Hey folks, welcome back to Phenomune. How's your journey progressing so far? We know that it can get hard to stay motivated when you're making healthy changes. So before we jump into today's topic, I want to share a tip that I found really helpful to keep me encouraged. By asking a friend or family member to join you in your goal makes it much easier to stay encouraged and motivated. By feeling that you are not alone and by having someone that keeps you accountable, you are much more likely to reach your goals. That being said, let's jump straight in. I want to start today by asking you a strange question. Have you ever tried to unstick yourself from the earth? Now I bet that you think I've gone completely mad, but bear with me. Do you know that you are stuck to the planet and there is nothing that you can do about it? It's that sneaky force called gravity. Of course, you can temporarily unstick yourself if you jump up in the air or if you spend an enormous amount of money and an enormous amount of rocket fuel. But gravity will always pull you back down. I mention this because all our life, our physical body works against gravity. From the day we are born till the day we die, all our physiological systems, our muscles and tendons all work against this thing called gravity to move and overcome inertia and have momentum. In fact, there isn't a single moment in our day when gravity doesn't affect us. Imagine now that you are 30 pounds overweight. Of course, this won't happen overnight, but slowly your body adapts to the increased stress and over time it is unhealthy and unsustainable. The same applies if we are 30 pounds underweight. We are working too hard to overcome gravity without even knowing it. And that's why it's critical that we weigh ourselves and test ourselves with tools such as the BMI test to get an idea of what our ideal weight is supposed to be. Now here's the problem. If you're not physically active, you won't necessarily notice the added stress of the weight by just walking around because, as I said, the changes are slow and subtle. So in a sense, we're deceived believing things are just fine without having any real idea of the underlying stress affecting our bodies every day. As an ultra-endurance athlete, I can assure you that those differences are polarized. Losing 10 or 12 pounds before a race is dramatic when climbing one of those monster hills in the Rocky Mountains. The difference is night and day. And don't think those 10 pounds you lose will only matter for the holiday or the race you want to do. It also matters in your daily activities like climbing up the stairs or playing with your kids. And that leads me to the question of exercise. How much do you want to do? How many times a week do you want to exercise? How much should you exercise? And what is considered a healthy amount? Well, to begin with, 30 minutes is a great starting point. But let's see how far we can go. And I say that because I can almost promise you that as you are progressing along this journey, you will want to do more than just a 30-minute walk. You see, that's the thing about weight. The closer we are to our ideal weight, the more the world opens up with possibilities. It's almost as if gravity's leash gets longer. It doesn't entirely let us go, but it certainly lets us do more. So where do you start? A common problem with exercise is that we run out of steam soon after we start. We lose motivation and settle back into our comfort zones. And I really want to help you overcome this because it's something that many people struggle with. I get that not everyone is a mountain climber or a marathon runner, but we all need some sort of physical exercise. And that's what I want to share, 2 tips no matter what level of training you're on. The first is something that Stephen Covey said when he described the habits of highly effective people. He said that you should begin with the end in mind. And I found that this is especially true when it comes to exercise. Now look, there's nothing wrong with exercising for the sake of staying healthy and improving our immunity. That's the foundational idea. But at some point you will find that having the added stimulus of an external event will bring with it additional momentum and encouragement. Working towards a goal helps you to stay focused and determined. So start by picking a goal. Pick a race or an event where the metrics to determine success are simply showing up and doing it, not necessarily your time or the distance you covered. Secondly, find a PIC, a partner in crime. Now what's your crime, you ask? Breaking free from the grip of gravity, just for a while. You see, initially on this journey, you are more likely to betray yourself than a friend. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's say you've decided that tomorrow morning you'll wake up early and go for a 5 a.m. run by yourself. At 4:30 when the alarm goes off, you notice that it's raining. So you roll over, hit the snooze button and decide to skip today. In a sense, you made a contract with yourself, but you very quickly betrayed that contract. Now let's say you and a friend agreed to go for that same run. The alarm goes off at 4:30 and you notice that it's raining. But this time you pull yourself out of bed because you promised your friend that you'd go together. This time you are more likely to stick to the contract and go for the run. Why? Because your contract with your friend has raised your level of accountability. So there you go. This week I want you to take the 2 tips and turn them into the to-dos for the week. Number 1, set a goal. And number 2, find a partner in crime. Good luck. I know you can do it. Let's escape gravity together.